I picked up 3 different bulbs of fennel because I'm gonna make 3 different recipes with you. Each of these recipes prepares fennel in a different way too, and I'm going to show you how to use the fronds, this really long part that is most of the fennel, these parts which kind of look like celery, the stalk, and this bulb. It's what's used most commonly as like the core ingredient in fennel recipes, and I'll show you why today. Now it looks like a wet cat. If you're using the fronds as a garnish, I would recommend washing in advance because as you can see, it loses some of its pizzazz when it's soaking wet. Now we probably will take away this first layer and then we'll cut it off at the stalks. You do want to keep this stuff, we are going to use it. It's kind of like cabbage where you want to peel away those browned lower quality parts. For the potato soup, we are going to use all of this, and we are going to use some of these. First, I'm going to cut this in half lengthwise. Okay, so there's this core right here. This is what we want to cut out. So just like if it was cabbage, again, you're just going to cut it away. Now for this recipe, we are going to end up just like completely pureeing and dissolving the fennel, so you do not need to do anything too fancy here. This is 1 fennel bulb. To me, it smells amazing. I mean, it does smell like licorice, but again, once we cook this down, it's not going to be as strong, I promise. We're gonna find like a couple of stalks here, right here. You can take off those fronds. Cool. Okay. And use like this much. Truly, like, it looks like celery, right? But it's not. But I'm using it similarly to how I would use celery. So like adding it to a mirepoix. Instead of celery, it's gonna add some like subtle sweetness and just a really nice dynamic flavor. You may know fennel primarily as fennel seed. It's typically used in like sausage. I use it in my vegetarian sausage recipe. It has a ton of flavor, and I do feel like this is what most people think of when they think of fennel. This is another place where we'll add some of this to the soup. I love the flavor it adds, but again, if you want to just have a subtle fennel flavor, woo, tongue twister, I would omit this. And you'll still get that nice flavor, but it won't be overwhelming. All right, so we're gonna melt some butter. I'm actually using salted butter here. I'm gonna put this over medium heat, and I'll add in that chopped fennel. I'll also add in the salt. We want that fennel to cook down and soften, which is why I'm adding the salt now. And then I'm gonna add in the fennel seeds. And we'll just cook all of this until it's softened and starting to turn golden. It's just roughly chopped garlic because it'll get pureed up, so you don't need to worry about mincing it too finely. Okay, I'm gonna add in some cumin, which may seem like a wild card, and that's because it kind of is, but don't skip this. It's truly, to me, what brings everything together. Okay, I'm gonna start with just 2 cups. This is like a teaspoon of mustard. Actually, as far as wild cards go, this is the real wild card, probably. It's gonna add creaminess. It's going to add protein and make this more of like a satisfying soup instead of just like a side soup. It could be a main dish if you want. I actually prefer Great Northern beans. Cannellini was an accident, so we'll see how that goes. Great Northern are really creamy. They break down easily. Cannellini tend to be a bit more firm. So we'll see how that goes. So add this entire can. Make sure to drain and rinse it first. Typically for better than bouillon, you're gonna do 1 teaspoon per cup. I think it's very cost effective, and I also think it's just more flavorful than store-bought veggie broth. I'm just putting a lid on so it comes to a boil a little more quickly. right, so for the pasta with sausage, we're gonna start by adding some butter, most importantly. All right, so it's starting to get golden. It's been cooking for a few minutes. And now we have to add the sausage. I am using a spicy impossible sausage. I removed these casings. I honestly don't know if you're supposed to, but to me it just feels like the right move. Feel free to let me know down below. I mean, they come off so easily. So it feels right. An Italian sausage would make sense. It would pair very well, but I just really like this spicy one. So that's what I'm using. Like I said, I like spicy. If you don't, skip this part. I'm adding in like a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I love Aleppo pepper flakes, but I've been out and I keep forgetting to buy them. But like standard crushed red pepper flakes, great, gets the job done, adds heat. This sausage is pretty salty, but again, we need some salt because salt is a very important ingredient. I use kosher salt, so it's a little finer. You can use a little bit more of it than if you were using table salt. All right, so we'll add in that lemon juice. I'm doing like a 1/4 cup because we want this to be quite lemony. And then to thin that out, I'll add in some pasta water. Seems simple, it's because it is, because sometimes simple is simply the best. So now we'll add in the pasta. And I like to add just like a little bit of oil. It's just a great way to cook fennel. Super quick. The flavor is subtle but interesting enough that you don't just feel like you're eating pasta with sausage. It like adds a little extra something. And of course, the sausage and the fennel are just a natural pairing as well. And then I'll finish it off with some lemon zest and some black pepper. And you can add in some Parmesan cheese if you like. This also goes really well with feta. And then we're using goat's cheese in another recipe, so you can also just use that if you don't want to have to go and buy another cheese. Okay, so for our final fennel, we have this gorgeous organism. For this final fennel recipe, we are going to shave the fennel and we are going to serve it raw. So this, of all the fennel recipes, is going to be the one that if you say, I don't like fennel flavor, I'll believe you, because raw fennel tastes like fennel and it tastes like fennel smells, and that's pretty licoricey. So we're just gonna, again, remove those outer layers, make sure it's rinsed, just shave it. And what this does is just makes these tiny little pieces that are a little crunchy. So we're just gonna shave up like half of this. Toast some almonds in butter. It is optional, you could just add the almonds right in, but like the toasty flavor, kind of hard to beat. So I'm doing about a 1/4 cup of almonds, and we'll just toast this for a couple of minutes. I'm just gonna do one little small salad to start off with. Some greens, just add a little drizzle. I like to toss the greens first so that they actually get like nicely coated in the dressing, and then you can add more after you add the other ingredients. Of course, if you were making this for someone else, you could like use tongs, but this is for me, so I use my hands. Okay, a little bit of goat's cheese. gonna be messy, but I tested this with pecorino the first time and I did like it, but I like goat cheese better, so you can do either. All right, some of those toasty almonds. Some might say a little too toasty. Kind of squeeze this pear with some lemon so it doesn't brown. Oh my goodness, how pretty. For garnish, these don't actually add a ton of flavor. Mostly just like to tie in that fennel vibe. Hopefully you find this helpful or you're inspired to try some fennel recipes now. All I know is I like fennel and I think it's underrated, and all of these recipes are so easy to make. You might as well try it. I think it's like $3 to buy a fennel bulb. If you're unsure about the flavor, I would definitely start with the pasta because that is like the least fennel-y flavor of them all. But I think it's so good. Oh my god. It's so good. If you have any other vegetables you're intimidated by, or like fruits or ingredients or grains, you know, like whatever, let me know. I would love to make another informational video about a specific vegetable. I found this very fun because personally, like, I just wanted to learn how to cook fennel. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And once again, I'm Cassidy. This is Cozy Peach Kitchen. Hit subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. And I'll be eating all of this for lunch, and I am very excited about it.